from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from the Built Ford Tough studio, FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. CJ Hurt right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you're ready for the Grizzlies to try to extend their winning streak tonight inside FedEx Forum, because we got an opportunity to do it. The Clippers are in town. Injury report looks pretty good, except we got an update about an hour ago and complicates stuff just a little bit. We'll talk about it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. In the next segment, about 20 minutes, Michael Eaves is going to join me. He, of course, hosts Sports Center for ESPN. I'll talk to him about a number of things, including some sad news from the weekend. MLB icon Ricky Henderson died Saturday at the age of 65, widely regarded as the greatest leadoff hitter, base runner of all time, just a real star. I'll talk to Michael Eaves about Ricky Henderson and other things. We'll do it in about 20 minutes. When I finish talking to Michael Eaves, we'll zero in on the college football playoff that everybody seems frustrated with. First round of the 12-team playoff got underway this weekend. My question for folks, have you ever watched the first round of any playoff? This is pretty much what they look like. I'll give you some numbers to support that. We'll do it in the third segment. Then we'll finish that. We'll go take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, Penny Hardaway's Tigers got blasted at home by Mississippi State this weekend. See what happens when you align with a master manipulator and habitual liar like Drake. I tried to warn them. Don't align yourself with a colonizer. They did it. What happened. We'll get into it in about an hour. Chris Jan's Bulldogs, while they were beating Memphis inside FedEx Forum, I was at Madison Square Garden for the CBS Sports Classic. I've been doing this a long time at this point. Don't think I've ever experienced a vomit delay, but we had a vomit delay inside the Garden during UCLA North Carolina. I'll tell you about that a little later on in the show. Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter has deleted his Instagram, this poor guy, after a video surfaced of a woman believed to be his girlfriend. There's a video of her twerking on another man. We have a twerking controversy connected to our Heisman Trophy winner. I'll tell you more about that. We'll do it in the second hour. Steve Kerr has made it clear he's tired of Jonathan Kuminga's bullshit out in Golden State. Play the clip for you in the second hour. Hilarious press conference from Golden State's coach. We'll do that a little later on in the show. And Shohei Ohtani has been named the AP Male Athlete of the Year for the 3rd time in his career. He's now tied with Michael Jordan. Tell you more about that during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we will eventually do GP's Carryout and we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to. But I did want to start with your Memphis Grizzlies, because Game 30 of a scheduled 82, scheduled for tonight inside FedEx Forum, is Grizz Clippers, downtown Memphis, CJ. Tip scheduled for 7 o'clock. Tickets available, Grizzlies.com. Are you ready for more basketball?
Yeah, absolutely.
Grizz going to enter on a 2-game winning streak after they backed last Thursday's 51-point win over the Warriors with a 16-point victory in Atlanta. Final score there was Grizzlies 128, Hawks 112. No Ja Morant, no problem. The franchise point guard missed his 12th game of the season because of some back soreness suffered after a hard fall in the third quarter of that victory over Golden State last Thursday. So the Grizzlies didn't have Ja Morant, and the Hawks didn't have Trae Young on Saturday night. Wonderful development for the NBA there. That's just perfect. Saturday night in Atlanta, no Ja Morant, no Trae Young. Scottie Pippen Jr. got the start, of course, in place of John. He was his usual rock-solid self. He took 12 shots, made 9 of them, finished with 22 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds in 33 minutes. All 5 starters reached double figures for the Grizz. Desmond Bane got a team-high 23 points, and that 16-point win, it improved the Grizzlies to 20-9 on the season overall, 7-6 away from FedEx Forum. That's the second best record in the West. Now 3 games back of Oklahoma City. It's the 4th best record in the NBA heading into tonight's game again with the Clippers. Tonight's status report, I told you, it's short relative to what we're used to, but we did get an update about an hour ago. It's not the type of thing you want to pop into your timeline on a Monday morning. Desmond Bane is now questionable with an undisclosed illness. Hopefully nothing too serious there. Beyond that, there's just 4 outs on the status report. It's Jay Huff with a left ankle sprain, G.G. Jackson, right 5th metatarsal repair, Marcus Smart, right index finger injury. Vince Williams Jr. still has that right ankle sprain. In other words, John Morant, Jaren Jackson are good to go. We'll see on Desmond Bane. Kawhi Leonard is not. You're not going to believe this. Hall of Fame, future Hall of Famer. He's got a knee issue. Still hasn't played a single minute all season. Add all of this up, it's how you get the Grizzlies listed as 5.5-point favorites tonight here inside FedEx Forum. CJ, let's stop here. Clippers in town. Kawhi Leonard still hasn't played a minute this season. They signed him to a 3-year, $150 million contract. He's 33 years old. He has chronic knee problems. They're going to regret this, aren't they? This is a contract they're going to regret.
Yeah, and it's a contract they're going to regret, and this is a player who doesn't have like that franchise connection to the Clippers, right? Like the Lakers paid Kobe Bryant all that money, and they paid him that money because, hey, we drafted him. You are the LA Lakers. Like, you're a marketing sensation. You've done all these great things. We feel like we owe you one more contract. The Clippers didn't do that with Kawhi. Right. The Clippers paid him to come out there and play and perform at a high level for them to get them a championship. I think the Mavericks did that towards the end of Dirk Nowitzki's year. Like, hey, career, not year. Hey, you've given us so many breaks on these contracts so we could go out there and try and sign players. We're going to give you one final contract, and we know you're not going to live up to it, but we're doing it because for so long you've been the face of this franchise, and Kawhi Leonard just isn't that for the Clippers, and so it's odd, and they're going to regret it, absolutely.
Even the Kobe one, though, I think people understood it.
Yeah.
But it was a little controversial. Like, what are you doing? Why are you giving this guy this much money, creating a scenario where you can't put people around them, and it's just going to get really bad? And it got really bad. But you sort of understood it on some level because it was Kobe.
Yeah.
It's not something that the New England Patriots would do with Bill Belichick.
No, and they tried to make him do it with Brady, and that's when that tension started.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not something the Patriots would do with Bill Belichick. I think that's the other end of the spectrum, like a heartless, it's all business. We'll use you until we don't think we can use you anymore, and then it's nice knowing you, but you got to go. That's the way the Patriots ran that thing, most famously with Tom Brady, but like a million times before Tom Brady.
Seymour,
like
Dylan.
There's a long list of them.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Moss in there.
They really going to let that guy go?
Yeah.
Yes, we're really going to let that guy go. They that's the way they ran that thing. The Lakers were the complete opposite of that. Like, hey, Kobe, we know you ain't worth this money anymore, but you're Kobe, and we're giving it to you. Yeah. But still, like, I can remember people in that, like, they were bad, and he was taking all the shots. And, you know, I work with Roy Hibbert, who was on Kobe's last Lakers team.
He was.
And Roy's got incredible stories about that whole year. But Kobe wasn't even really a part of that team. He had a separate locker room.
What? Wait.
I had never heard of this. This is what I was told. That they would all dress in the Lakers locker room, and Kobe had his own locker room. Like the
own locker room.
Like the LA Kings locker room was like the Kobe locker room. It was like something like that where he didn't really practice at all. Like he'd just show up for the games and play. And everybody, it was just sort of understood. This is the way this is. But it was...
That's a year after the Achilles injury, right?
Whatever his last year was,
okay,
where it was the retirement tour. And we knew going into this is going to be his last game at Staples, and you know all the celebs are courtside. Whatever that year was, Roy was like, it was the most unusual year. Like, and it wasn't like bad. It wasn't like, it was just like not normal. You got a guy who's the face of this whole thing, and we barely interact with him at all. And he's not even around us, and he doesn't practice. And it didn't feel like winning was the priority. It didn't feel like we're coming here every day to work and win. It didn't feel like that was what mattered. And so I think people understood that. But still, it was just, is this really how you run a professional sports franchise? Like just in a salary cap structure? Is this really what you ought to be doing? So then the Clippers get to this point, and I don't know if it's like they felt like they owed Kawhi as much as they felt like they're going into this new arena, and you just can't start the rebuild, the complete tear it down rebuild as you're going into a new arena. But the problem, of course, once you're going to lose Paul George anyway, there's a ceiling on what you can be. Yeah. So you might not be the worst, but you ain't gonna be the best. You're not a legitimate contender, and now you lock up 3 years, $150 million for Kawhi. He can't play. That's probably not going to get better. I know they keep talking about rehabbing and rest and all of this stuff, but it's a man with chronic knee problems. Like, this is probably just not going to get better. And so now you're tied into this thing, and in reality, the short-term perspective is going to end up costing them long-term. I really think they said, well, we might lose Paul George. We can't lose them both. And
which is crazy to me, because you're in LA, you're the Clippers, you are going into a new
You should
arena.
always be able to be in play if you've got cap space for the
DeRozan was floating around out there.
For the big,
right?
and I don't know if that solves your problems, but it felt like they gave him this contract when they gave him this contract because he's willing to sign it and we won't lose him. And, you know, if he's ever healthy, he's one of the best players in the world, which is true. It's just that he's rarely
He can't be healthy. Man.
He was healthy for the most part last season. And I guess that's what tricked him into thinking, well, maybe this is the new norm. But like this kind of thing with him is always just right around the corner. It's been that way for years. And the short-term perspective as well, we can't lose Kawhi Leonard as we're getting ready to go into a new building, sets you up for now we're strapped. Mm-hmm. We're tied to Kawhi Leonard in street clothes in this new building. Like, the thing you thought you couldn't avoid is the thing you should have avoided. The thing they thought they couldn't avoid, which is Kawhi Leonard leaving for maybe nothing. Like, that's you should that's better than this. Yeah. It doesn't feel like that in real time. But when this 3-year contract's done and that $150 million is out, they're going to have nothing to show for it. Yeah. And when the whole 30 for 30 is done on the Paul George, Kawhi Leonard experiment, it's going to look a lot like the...
Wait, hold. There's no way they're getting a 30 for 30.
No, that's an exaggeration. Of course not. Whatever the equivalent is of, let's look back at this and see what happened, it's not going to... No. It's not going to be good. It's going to feel like a lot like in Brooklyn. Mm. It makes sense on paper, but it never quite happened. And what you have, the common denominator between both of those franchises, they're both historically nothing franchises in big markets, destination markets that decided, let's go for it. And it just bombed in both places.
You said a lot like Brooklyn, and I made a face because I'm trying to figure out which time, because Brooklyn did it twice. Right. And I think this feels more like the Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, who else? Joe Johnson. Yeah. It feels like those Nets.
So the Nets have tried to short circuit the thing twice and just say, hey, let's forget drafting, forget developing from within. Let's just go buy or trade for stars and see if we can make it work. They tried it in Brooklyn, didn't work. They tried it in Brooklyn again, different cast, didn't work. They've tried it with the Clippers, didn't work.
76ers, throw them in there. And
they actually tried to do it through the draft first. That was the whole trust the process stuff. And then they were like, all right, let's just go get a James Harden. Let's go get a
Simmons.
And just didn't, just did not work. So the Clippers are in town tonight. We don't wish bad things for other franchises, but we'll take advantage of them. Without a Kawhi Leonard, you just play the team in front of you. The team in front of us tonight is going to be a team without Kawhi Leonard. I'd prefer playing that team. I wish good things for them going forward, but I don't mind not seeing Kawhi Leonard. Grizzlies, Clippers, 7 o'clock tip. Tickets available, grizzlies.com. We come back. Michael Eaves is going to join us. He hosts SportsCenter for ESPN. I talked to him about a number of things, including Charlie Woods, hole-in-one on television yesterday with his father, Tiger, watching. Sweet moment. Just a sweet moment all the way around. Fun day of golf. Michael Eaves, he's up next.
Get the squad together for this year's Junior Grizzlies 3-on-3 tournament, presented by 2K at the Built Ford Tough practice facility inside FedEx Forum. On Saturday, January 4th, teams will compete in 3 games before advancing to single elimination play. Overall winners from the 10 and under, 12 and under, and 14 and under divisions will win Grizzlies tickets, including exclusive access to the pregame team shoot-around before the Grizz take on the Pelicans January 24th. Sign up today at hoopitup.com/Grizzlies.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Grizzlies are just having fun out there tonight. Morant around a screen, bumped by Wagner. No look to Smart, lays it up on the window and in, and it is all Grizz. The Grizzlies have the fans on their feet at FedEx Forum.
There's no substitute for experience, the knowledge gained from having been there before, and the passion to share what you know to make everyone around you better. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
ESPN put out a list. Top 30 best pro wrestlers under 30 in the world today. Number 1, Dirty Dom. Number 2, MJF.
I think Dom is deserving to be number 1. I think he is probably, like I said, one of the greatest heels in the last 10, 15 years. Like you said, he can't talk on the microphone.
The fans love it because they feel like they're a part of the show.
And that's the best.
Without their booze, he's not the best heel.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel. How about them Tigers? Go.
Beat Tulane in a game that nobody called. Nobody thought was going to happen. They were a 2-touchdown underdog, and they got the win.
Number 25 in the AP right now, number 24 in the coaches poll now. So this is a Tigers football team that's going to end the regular season ranked in both major polls, possibly ranked in the CFP as well, with 10 wins. That's a damn good season.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Get the squad together for this year's Junior Grizzlies 3-on-3 tournament, presented by 2K at the Built Ford Tough practice facility inside FedEx Forum. On Saturday, January 4th, teams will compete in 3 games before advancing to single elimination play. Overall winners from the 10 and under, 12 and under, and 14 and under divisions will win Grizzlies tickets, including exclusive access to the pregame team shoot-around before the Grizz take on the Pelicans January 24th. Sign up today at hoopitup.com/Grizzlies.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. I'm in the Built Ford Tough studio, and on Mondays in the second segment, I'm joined by Michael Eaves. He hosts SportsCenter for ESPN. He joins me right now. Michael Eaves, we're going to get to Kentucky basketball in a moment. I was inside the Garden for a surprising result on Saturday, but I want to start with, I guess, clearly some sad news from the weekend. A real icon of baseball and sports in general passed away at the age of 65, Ricky Henderson. For people who are younger than you and I, or who didn't grow up with baseball or in the 80s, can you help folks understand how awesome and cool Ricky Henderson was at a time where people didn't really like baseball players being as cool as Ricky Henderson was.
Yeah, I mean, when it just comes to him as a player himself, he was obviously a Hall of Famer, but literally maybe the best player of his generation in terms of everything he did with hitting, fielding, and also stealing bases and scoring runs. No one stole more bases, and no one scored more runs than Ricky Henderson. That, to me, is more important than the stolen bases, quite honestly, because he was always on base, and he was getting around those bases and bringing home runs for his teams. But as you mentioned, he did it with such a flair, whether it was at the plate, even how he would step out of the box, or if he hit a home run, his home run trots, or even, catching balls out in the outfield. He did it with flair and personality that just made him entertaining. But when he was chasing Lou Brock's single-season record for stolen bases, I mean, it was must-see TV. Television stations were cutting in to the times that he was on base to see if he could actually get that next stolen base. I mean, it was sort of like Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire's home run chase that one year. Ricky Henderson had that same sort of appeal while stealing bases. And beyond that, beyond all those things, he was also a character.
Yes.
Like his quotes and the things he would say and talking in third person, he was truly one of the more unforgettable players in the history of Major League Baseball.
We teach our children to be humble and to let other people tell you how great you are. You don't have to say it yourself. But Ricky did not subscribe to that. He wanted you to know he is the greatest. And, he backed it up. He really was the greatest. It's always an interesting time when something like this happens, because you're sad. Like somebody you grew up watching and really admiring on some level passes. That's sad for his loved ones and friends and family. On the other hand, it brings all these stories to the surface and you get to enjoy them again. And I just had a blast listening to Ricky Henderson stories all weekend, whether it's Will Clark talking about Ricky Henderson being on first base and saying, Ricky's ready to run. Ricky's going to run. And he's just announcing, I'm about to go. He's just... That type of personality can turn some people off, and yet with Ricky Henderson, I don't gather that it did at all. We loved it, didn't we?
No, because it wasn't malicious.
Right.
He really was not malicious in the things he was saying. He was boasting about himself, and he was never being derogatory towards someone else. And there is a distinct difference in that regard. Plus, he was just funny.
Yes.
Right? Like when you say things that make you laugh, it's easier if something may be, off-putting or something to accept. It's sort of like Charles Barkley. Like Charles says some things, sometimes that are off based on the humor side, but because he's so funny, you just accept it. And that's the way Ricky was. But you took him seriously as a baseball player, obviously, but a lot of things he said you didn't take seriously, so it didn't bother you as much. And to your point, one of the aspects of grief is nostalgia, right? The things that make you sad is what you're not going to see anymore, but also the things that help you get through that grief is remembering the good times. And there are so many memorable times with Ricky Henderson if you are of a certain age. And I think a lot of people were doing what you're doing the last couple of days, Gary, reminiscing about some of those moments.
Last thing on this, and I guess I don't have any way to prove this, but I think you'll know what I'm saying. Left-handed hitters look so great hitting home runs, whether it's Ken Griffey Jr. or more recently Shohei Ohtani. It is harder for us right-handers to look cool. For whatever reason, I've actually tried to ask about this, and there's something about typically left-handed hitters are facing right-handed pitchers, whereas right-handed hitters are typically facing right-handed pitchers. You see the ball differently from that side of the plate, and you're a little more comfortable, and that plays a role in it. I'm not sure. That's just one explanation I've heard. My point is this. Ricky Henderson might have been the coolest looking right-handed hitter ever. The crouch, the way he bounced out of the box. He was the rare right-handed hitter who made hitting right-handed look cool, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. And I had not considered that until you just said it. But as soon as you did, I'm maybe 100% agreement with you without trying to go through a bunch of hitters in my Rolodex here. But yeah, he did it. He did it with flair. The way he stepped in the box, the way he stepped out, the bat on the shoulder, the whole rhythm, he would kind of ease into it, all that stuff. It just screamed flair and personality. And he was also, Gary, one of the rare players that hit right-handed but threw left-handed. Like you see a lot of other guys going, right to left, but he was one of the rare guys that went left to right, and that just doesn't happen very much in baseball.
On a happier note, really sweet scene yesterday in golf. It's the annual tournament where it's fathers, sons, and duos, and it's Tiger Woods and Charlie Woods on a big stage again. Charlie gets his first hole-in-one. It happens to happen on national television. And I had, I think most of us these days are in group text with friends or coworkers or whatever. And across this group text came a text message from a buddy who said, Man, I just like seeing Tiger so happy. He just looked genuinely happy as a father. You know Tiger Woods and has spent time with him in a way that the rest of us will never. But did you see the same thing when you watched Tiger, the expression on his face? He seemed like he was in a good place yesterday.
Oh, 100%. Like, he was so proud of that moment for Charlie and so happy for him. He was happier than Charlie was, right? At 15, sometimes it's hard to really absorb the moment, especially doing it on national TV, your first hole-in-one. But Tiger, he realized all of it in that moment, and he was so geeked. I don't want to put words in Tiger's mouth, but I'm assuming that moment right there would rank probably in his top 10 or top 5 of all-time golf moments. That includes some of the things that he accomplished as a player, because that is his son. And he's seen, how much his son has worked. And he also realized how tough it will be for Charlie being in Tiger's shadow pretty much the majority of his life. And so for all that to, come together there in that moment, that was pure joy on Tiger's face. And that's why, quite honestly, I believe Tiger worked so hard to get back to play in this event, right? He had back surgery in September. He didn't even play in his own event in the Bahamas a couple of weeks ago, but he was determined to get back for this because he knows how much Charlie wants to win this thing, and he wants to be there for his son. And they were there. They even went to a playoff against the Langer family. Yeah. But for Tiger to be there with his son means so much more to him than I think a lot of people realize, because we see Tiger as the athlete, and we just want to see him keep coming back, but he's much more of a dad now than he is an athlete.
And there was this post-round moment as well that I thought was really sweet and meaningful. Tiger's there, Charlie's playing, his daughter's on the bag, and then there's Elin watching her children, and then there was this moment where Tiger and Elin embrace and hug, and maybe it meant nothing, but as the son of a divorced couple, I was sort of thinking through this. Not that I ever needed to see this. This is not something that I hold in, or it's nothing. I don't think I ever saw my parents hug again after they divorced. Mm-hmm. I don't think I ever saw that. And I just saw that with Tiger and Elin, and that family's been through hell. I mean, buddy. And for them to have that moment and be able to share it, I don't know. I thought that was sweet as well.
Look, I've been divorced, but I don't have kids, right. So I don't know what it's like truly. But I do know that if there's one thing that divorcees still share, regardless of how that marriage ended, is the love for their children. And if in that moment they were feeling the same thing, then that can be a connection for them in that moment. It may not mean anything, as you said. It doesn't mean they're getting back together or anything like that, but they can share in that moment because of the love they share for their kids. To see Charlie do that and Sam on the bag and them almost win the whole thing, it was cool. You know what? And for Charlie and Sam, thankfully, can have that moment.
Yes.
That means something to them as well. They may realize that they would never be a couple again, but they want to know that their mom and dad get along. Right. That means a lot to kids who go through something like that.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. Let's go to college basketball. Before the CBS Sports Classic on Saturday, I went Friday and spent some time with your head coach, Mark Pope. I've known Mark for a long time, but I haven't sat down and spent 30 minutes with him very often. And I know the game went the way the game went. Just, you're in good hands, man. That's an impressive guy. And the thing obviously the basketball stuff's easy to see when you watch basketball. I'm always interested in people when we just sit down and talk. And what is this person about? And he's obviously bright and just sharp. And I know the game went the wrong way, but you're in good hands with that guy. He's the real deal.
Well, one thing about Mark Pope that is true now, as it ever was when I first met him back in 1995, is that he is a genuinely good person, right? I mean, if he wasn't coaching basketball, he'd be doing something else and it'd be a positive impact on that community or wherever he was, because he's such a good human being. And what he's been able to prove, even in the last year at BYU and in the first few games here at Kentucky, is that he can coach his ass off, right? And so, I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it because I need to give him praise in the wake of that. I know me and several other Kentucky fans, that was not the coach we wanted when Calipari left. But in retrospect, maybe it's the coach we needed, because he has that Kentucky background. He knows what it means to win there. He won that championship in 1996. It was their first since 1978 and all of that. But also just the way he can connect with the fan base. And it needed some reconnection in the wake of the way John Calipari left. And the connection he seems to have with his kids, the kids that wanted to come there and not knowing what was going to be at Kentucky, and the recruiting success he's had so far. Again, he may not be the coach that Kentucky wanted, but ends up being the coach they absolutely needed.
Well, I was talking to him about that, and I was like, so what? I said, so when did you know that you're a real candidate for this job? And he's got this great story. He's at the Final Four in San Antonio, or in Phoenix, rather. And on that Saturday morning, keep in mind, it pops on Sunday night. John Calipari's in negotiations with Arkansas. On that Saturday morning, Mark said he walked in somewhere at the Final Four, and there's John Calipari and Tubby Smith. And he goes, my God, it's Kentucky royalty. Let me get a picture with you guys. He said, so I'm taking a picture with John Calipari 24 hours before he's going to leave for Arkansas. I have no clue. It didn't come up. Nobody was whispering about it. I got a picture with John and Tubby that day. On Sunday night, the things break. And obviously people, this is Mark telling a story. He's like, you wonder, like, is this? But you don't, it's not real. You hear one phone call and it's like Scott Drew, Dan Hurley, Billy Donovan. It's not me. He said, but by about Thursday, after Scott turned it down, it was like, okay, this might really happen. And he said, so it's weird. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but this is the gist of the story. He's like, it's weird because your dream is coming true. You're the coach of the Kentucky Wildcats. But everybody you want to do this for is going, no. And he's like, but it was fine. I understood. He's like, but I really have intentionally tried to reconnect. And I want to be clear, he never mentioned Cal by name except in complimentary ways. This was not designed to be any sort of shot at anybody. But he said, if I don't connect this program with its fan base and it's just about me, I go win a title or two or whatever. If it's just about me, I need to be able to be a part of people's, this means a lot to a lot of people. And he seems to understand that better than I think some would.
Absolutely. He definitely understood it better than the person who was there before John Calipari, and that was a disastrous tenure there at Kentucky. And a good example of that, Gary, was after that loss to Ohio State in Madison Square Garden. You remember, it was cold in New York over the weekend. And on the way to the bus, there were some Kentucky fans who had waited out there for almost an hour in the cold, including a small child with his father. Pope went over there and signed autographs and took pictures for a good 10 to 15 minutes before getting on the bus. He understands, right? And those people who were there in that moment may never go to Rupp Arena. They may never see a Kentucky game in person again, and that's something he understands. So he took time to go and see those people, right? And that means something. Like, he saw them, and they felt seen in that moment by the head coach of the University of Kentucky, and that will go on forever, and that kid will be a Kentucky fan the rest of his life. But Mark understands what that job entails.
Last thing before I let you go, we got our first round of the 12-team college football playoff this weekend. The games were not competitive. Everybody has opinions on it. I went back and looked at first round of the NFL playoffs last season. 5 of the 6 games were decided by double digits. I went and looked at the first round of the MLB playoffs this past season. The home teams went 8-1. This is just sort of the way first round playoffs go, isn't it?
It is. And honestly, if you even go back to some of these 14 playoffs that we've had in college football, there's been some blowouts in those first rounds as well. There's been blowouts in championship games before. It happens. I don't know why people are so upset about these teams getting in. Indiana and SMU, hey, congratulations, they had a great season. Well, Tennessee got in, they got their asses whooped too. Right? So it just happens sometimes. But because all this fewer, and it's the first 12-team playoff, and Alabama should have been in there. Well, Alabama should have beat Vanderbilt and Oklahoma too, but they didn't, right? So it's fine if a small school gets one opportunity to go to a 12-team playoff and get their butts blown out on the road somewhere. It's not a big deal. It doesn't mean that the SEC is less. Doesn't mean that the Pac-12 or excuse me, Pac-12, Big 12 or Pac-10, Big 10, pardon me, are less. It is what it is, and just relax. All right, so now those teams are gone. You don't have to talk about it anymore. Now who's going to win out from here in these last 8 teams?
That's right. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because as I'm watching, I even tweeted this on Saturday night. As I'm watching everybody just swirl themselves into all these different emotions, I'm like, the higher seeded teams with home field advantage went 4-0 in the first round of the playoffs. Sounds about right. And I know we'd like better games, but this was the way. This is how these things usually go.
Sometimes we like better games in the NCAA basketball tournament too.
Right.
It doesn't. You can't control that.
Right.
You just can't. But then let a team get upset and you're like, oh, that team should have been seeded higher. Shut up, man. Just let them play and see what happens. But here's the thing: by the time we get to the championship game, Gary, we don't even remember those first round games.
That's exactly.
We won't care.
That's Michael Eaves from ESPN. Make sure you're watching him on SportsCenter. Follow him on X at Michael Eaves. That's at Michael Eaves. You're the best, buddy. Thanks for being here. Have a Merry Christmas.
You too, brother.
All right. Bye-bye. Michael Eaves from ESPN. We come back. I want to continue the conversation about the college football playoff because I really did think it was interesting. And trust me, as somebody who looked forward to Friday night in prime time and Saturday night in prime time, and you get one lopsided game after another, I didn't love it either. But this is not unique to college football. It is not unique to the 12-team college football playoff. It does not mean that we made a mistake to go down this path. It means perhaps there's a better way to do it, and we'll get into that next. But this is always, or at least this was always possibly the way the first round of games were going to go. And it's not that different than Major League Baseball, NFL, really any sort of postseason bracket. I'll run you through some numbers next. Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball. But the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board. A class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
ESPN put out a list. Top 30 best pro wrestlers under 30 in the world today. Number 1, Dirty Dom. Number 2, MJF.
I think Dom is deserving to be number 1. I think he is probably, like I said, one of the greatest heels in the last 10, 15 years. Like you said, he can't talk on the microphone.
The fans love it because they feel like they're a part of the show.
And that's the best.
Without their booze, he's not the best heel.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel. How about them Tigers?
How about the Tigers?
Go.
Beat Tulane in a game that nobody called. Nobody thought was going to happen. They were a 2-touchdown underdog, and they got the win.
Number 25 in the AP right now, number 24 in the coaches poll right now. So this is a Tigers football team that's going to end the regular season ranked in both major polls, possibly ranked in the CFP as well, with 10 wins. That's a damn good season.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Get the squad together for this year's Junior Grizzlies 3-on-3 tournament. Presented by 2K at the Built Ford Tough practice facility inside FedEx Forum. On Saturday, January 4th, teams will compete in 3 games before advancing to single elimination play. Overall winners from the 10 and under, 12 and under, and 14 and under divisions will win Grizzlies tickets, including exclusive access to the pregame team shoot-around before the Grizz take on the Pelicans January 24th. Sign up today at hoopitup.com/Grizzlies. Hoop on the Grizzlies home court at Junior Grizzlies Game Day Clinics, presented by Ortho South. Clinics are open to kids ages 6 to 14 and last 60 minutes. The next clinic tips off December 23rd, the same day the Grizzlies play the Clippers. All skill levels are welcome, from beginner to competitive athlete. Sign up now before spots sell out at grizzlies.com/Junior Grizzlies. Registration includes a Junior Grizzlies t-shirt and 2 tickets to the game that day.
Welcome back. Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South. Big thanks to Michael Eaves for joining me. He's here on Mondays, and we concluded a conversation with him focusing on the college football playoff. And I didn't really know exactly what he would say about it, but I knew I wanted to ask him about it last so that we could carry it over into this segment. CJ, I'm assuming you turned on the college football playoff at least a little bit. Were you as disappointed as everybody else seemed to be? We did get 4 games played over a span of 2 days, all 4 games decided by double digits.
No, I thought it was incredible. I was like,
I just like seeing it.
Yeah, just seeing. We don't get the the P4 teams are busy hiding behind non-power teams on their schedule, so we don't get to see this a lot.
Right.
So anytime I get a power conference on a power conference, man, I'm really, really excited about it. You got Tennessee playing in Ohio for the first time ever. We played college football 100 and some years, and Tennessee has never played a game in Ohio, right? Like, I just enjoyed that part of it.
Once the game started, the games went the way they went, but, like, just give me the 20 minutes leading up to the game, and that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Tennessee fans in large numbers traveling to Columbus, Ohio. So you get one of the sports biggest brands, one of the sports best fan bases in one of the sports historic stadiums against one of the sports historic brands. Ryan Day, maybe coaching for his job. Like, it's all great. And then the game got away from him, and the game was what it was. But the point I was trying to make with Michael, and I think it's important to make on a day like today, after a weekend like this weekend, is that this is the way the first round of playoffs typically go. Perhaps this is a little more exaggerated than normal, but you hear it every year in the NBA playoffs too. Every year, you just forget it because you forget about the first round by the time you get to the Western Conference Finals and the Eastern Conference Finals. But you hear it every year. Why are we doing this? These are boring. Team's up 20. The Celtics just won again by 30. This is lopsided. Do we really need to watch the 8th place team in the East get blown out by this? This is the way we do it. Here's some numbers for you. Last season, NFL playoffs, first round NFL playoffs. You got 6 games. 5 of the 6 were decided by at least 14 points. 5 of the 6. The average margin of victory in the first round of the NFL playoff games last season was 17.3. You didn't know that.
No.
I didn't know that until I looked it up this morning. Nobody knew that, and nobody remembers it. We're getting caught up in the moment and going, this stinks, except it's normal. It might stink to watch lopsided games, but when you're doing the first round of playoffs in just about anything, this is pretty normal. Average margin of victory, first round NFL playoff games last season, 17.3. All right, let's go to another sport, Major League Baseball. Dodgers just won the World Series. We had a first round of the playoffs. It's best of 3 series. Mm-hmm. We had 4 best of 3 series. The home teams, higher seeded teams, went 8-1 in those games. The higher seeded teams with home field advantage won all 4 series, and they went 8-1. They only lost 1 game. If you go, like, basically anywhere, this is what it looks like. The first day of the NCAA tournament is often not that great. But when it is, it is.
There are way more games on that first day,
of
right?
Course.
So most of the games aren't great, but we don't focus on them. We get that one because there's always at least one of those, oh my gosh, did you see that game with the upset?
Right. But, so in theory, you might be getting 16 games on a Thursday, right? You just need a few of them to pop.
Just need 2, really. 2 or 3.
Right, well, you only get 4 here over a weekend, and none of them popped. But this is the way it typically goes. By definition, and all of this is simple to understand, but I think sometimes it needs to be said so you can make sense of it in your head. By definition, anytime you expand playoffs, any playoffs, you are letting lesser teams in every time, and often just setting them up to lose. That's the way this stuff goes. But that's not the point. The reason you expand the playoffs isn't so your first round of playoff games is as exciting as they can be, because you are, in many cases, putting 2 teams of different caliber on a football field together or a basketball court together or whatever. that's not the point. The point is that by expanding playoffs, you give more meaning to more people's regular seasons. You give more motivation for schools to try, to invest. You know, in a different world, if you are a school like Boise State or SMU, competing in a college football playoff doesn't even sound realistic to you. And it wouldn't be if we're dealing with 4. But you expand it to 12, so there's a path for not everybody, but way more people than ever in the history of the sport to compete for a national championship, even if they won't actually win it. So odds are the lower-seeded teams in any sort of postseason bracket are going to be quickly eliminated by the higher-seeded teams. That is the way brackets work. What makes it special and memorable is when you get the opposite of that. And the reason it's so memorable and special when you get the opposite of that is because it doesn't happen that often. What we just watched this weekend is what happens more often than not. But what do you remember? Let's just, from our most famous bracket, college basketball, UMBC over Virginia, George Mason over UConn, St. Peter's over Kentucky, Oakland over Kentucky. I still remember Jack Golke from Oakland. I didn't know Jack Golke's name before that game started. I don't think I'd ever watched him play a game before that game started. Then I watched him bomb on Kentucky in the NCAA tournament, more or less in John Calipari's run at UK, and I will remember that guy forever. I won't remember that Indiana got smacked around on a Friday night forever, right? But whenever you get the opposite of that, whenever it goes the way it doesn't normally go, those are the memories forever. You can go to the NBA. The 8-seeded Nuggets beat the top-seeded Sonics in the 1994 NBA playoffs. Like, people remember that. In the NFL, I don't remember this, but it's something that happened. Apparently, Jacksonville, second year as a franchise, as a 5 seed, goes into Denver and beats the Broncos in the 1996-97 NFL playoffs. I don't remember it, but it was apparently a big deal that people still talk about. One of the greatest wins in Jacksonville history. When it goes the way it's not supposed to go, that's when you get the big memories. When it goes this way, you just move on to the next stuff, which is not to suggest there's not a better way to do this, because there is. It's already so clear there's some obvious fixes that need to be made. And the most obvious is you cannot continue to give the top 4 seeds to the 4 highest-ranked conference champions. That messes up the whole bracket. You're not the way they do the NCAA tournament, whether they get it right or not, the way they do it is the best 4 teams are supposed to be the top 4 seeds, period. We don't care where they come from. We don't care if they're in the same league. We don't care if they're all in the same league. Who are the 4 best teams, 4 best resumes, 4 most deserving teams? That's your 1 seed, 1 seed, 1 seed, 1 seed. In college football, we say, who is your 4 highest-ranked conference champions? That's the 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed in this bracket. So right now, Auburn and Tennessee are number 1 and number 2 in the AP poll, in my top 25 and 1, in not every computer, but most. What if there was a rule in men's basketball that said, oh, no, the 4 number 1 seeds, they can't just be the 4 best teams. They have to be 4 different conference champions. Let's say Tennessee goes on and wins the SEC. There is a scenario where Auburn could be far and away number 1 in all of the computers, which they are right now. Auburn is a level above everybody else in terms of advanced metrics, efficiency numbers. Auburn is killing everybody. But what if Tennessee won the SEC? Do you know that means Auburn could not be a 1 seed if you put in the same rule that college football has? Auburn would then become a 2 seed. And Auburn would be a 2 seed in the same region. And you know what the coach of the 1 seed in that region would be saying? How are we in a region as a 1 seed with Auburn? They're the best team in the country. Why are we the 1, they're the 2, and they're the best team in the country, and we got to play them in a regional final to get to the Final Four, theoretically? Everybody would agree that's stupid. Then you have to agree this is stupid. When you say that the top 4 seeds have to be conference champions, you are setting yourself up a situation where Boise State is the 3 seed and Arizona State is the 4 seed. There is no person in the country who thinks that's the 3rd best team in the country and the 4th best team in the country. There is no computer in the world that will tell you that's the 3rd best team in the country and the 4th best team in the country. I mean, they might be. They could go meet in the national championship game. I don't know. I'm not here to predict the future. I'm just telling you, you can't find a human poll that backs that up. You can't find a computer that backs that up. But because of the silly rule they put into place, that's the way it goes. And suddenly you end up with a situation where Penn State has an easier path to the title game than Oregon. 2 teams from the same league. This team won the league. This team didn't. This team's the 1 seed. This team's not. This team's got the easier path to the title game because the bracket's seeded incorrectly. Seeded correctly by their stipulations, but the stipulations make it bad. For instance, if you just seeded this based on nothing more than the college football rankings that they publish, and we don't have any rules, we don't have to make this conference champion a 1 seed, and this conference champion the 2 seed, and this conference champion the 3 seed, and this conference champion the 4 seed. We're just taking who's the 4 best teams. You know what you get? You get number 1, Oregon, number 2, Georgia, number 3, Texas, number 4, Penn State. They're all given buys.
Penn State's in there.
Our first round, according to the college football playoff rankings, that's what it would have been. Okay. The first round, instead of watching what we watched this weekend, here's what we would have watched instead. Number 12, Clemson at number 5, Notre Dame. Maybe that goes the same way. But that's like, it should go the same way. Number 11, Arizona State at number 6, Ohio State. Maybe that goes the same way, right? Number 10, SMU at number 7, Tennessee. Well, now Tennessee's whole season's flipped around. Because of this weird rule they put in, Tennessee goes from hosting a first-round game against SMU to having to play at Ohio State. The whole season's flipped around because of this stipulation the committee put into place. And then you would have number 9, Boise State at number 8, Indiana. Right now, everybody's dunking on Indiana, talking about Indiana doesn't belong ever in this thing again, which is obviously silly. We'll see. But if you just seed it based on the college football playoff rankings that they publish, Indiana goes from having to open at Notre Dame to hosting Boise State. Notre Dame could be a quarterfinal college football playoff just if they did the bracket differently, just if they seeded it by the rankings they publish. So that's the first fix, and I'd bet this watch that they'll fix that before next year.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so obviously flawed and wrong. It's one of those things that maybe you needed to see it in real time before you could make sense of it, but now that we're all watching it, it's just wrong. They'll fix that. The other one I would fix, I want the quarterfinal games, the ones we're about to watch, on campuses as well.
Oh, yes. Give it to me. Yes.
This is where this stuff belongs, man.
Give it to me.
And it is insane that the power brokers keep outsourcing these incredible items of inventory out to bowl games and allowing other people to make. You don't have to let these bowls make money off of this. Why are you doing this? It's a good old boys network and everybody's taking care of everybody, right? But there's a better way to do this. And as soon as the good old boys, for lack of a better phrase, ain't around to take care of each other anymore, we get a new wave of people in there, then we'll start doing this the more sensible way. And we'll have these quarterfinal games on campuses as well. And honestly, I'd be happy with the semifinals on campuses as well, and then take the national championship game and put it in a neutral site. Some people argue make it the Rose Bowl every year. That's beautiful. I wouldn't complain. If you wanted to move it around like we do the Super Bowl, fine with me. But absolutely, Oregon was the best team in the country this season, all season, from start to finish, undefeated, clear-cut number 1. For them not to get to the title game, make somebody go to Eugene and beat them. We're going to make somebody go to Kansas City and beat the Chiefs. The only way Patrick Mahomes ain't in the Super Bowl again is if we send somebody to Kansas City and they beat them. That's what it's going to take. Short of that, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce going back to the Super Bowl. It works for the NFL. We seem to enjoy that. Do this the same way. Oh, you're worried about the expense you're putting on your fans, asking them to travel to Atlanta or New Orleans or wherever for these bowl games when they might have to travel for semifinals as well, then travel for a championship game as well, after they might have already had to travel for the first round. You want to make all this more affordable? Keep them at home. If you're a, let's just say, Notre Dame fan, it's much more affordable to know that your first game is going to be in South Bend and your second game is going to be in South Bend. And there's so much obvious fixes that are on the table to be made that I can't imagine they don't fix some of these things. But the larger point I wanted to make is stop being distraught about lopsided results in the first round of a playoff bracket. It is what we tend to get. NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NCAA tournament. The special part is when we don't get it. But if you're sitting around every minute expecting something different than what we got this weekend, it could be better, I agree. And it will be better going forward. But it ain't that out of line or at all out of line with what we watch in other first round of playoffs in all over the sports.
It's the orange starburst, right? What makes the pink starburst special is you have to eat the orange and the yellow starburst to get there. What makes that pineapple gummy bear, I think it's the white one, what makes that white gummy bear special is that you're eating the orange and the green and the reds, and you have to take appreciation. We got bags now, Gary, I don't know if you know this or not, that are full of pink starburst. It's like, no, that takes away the specialty of the pink starburst. You got to have some of these moments right here, some of these lesser moments to truly be able to appreciate the specialness when the upsets start coming in.
To take this back to the NCAA tournament, you watch number 1 seed Duke beat some bad team by 35 every year.
Orange starburst.
So that one time UMBC is going to pop up and get Virginia.
Pink.
And we'll never forget that one.
Never.
That's exactly right,
Never.
CJ. That's exactly right. Either way, next round of the college football playoffs, I hope it's more competitive. And next year, first round, also hope it's more competitive. But this is just the way the playoffs tend to go in all sports. And I was surprised to see how many people forgot about that this weekend.
Did it feel like it was... Because to me, it felt like it was just people here in the southeastern region. Did it feel more?
Well, it was funny. The whole
national?
It's just everybody picks their spots.
Yeah.
And I think Lane Kiffin became the face of this, right? You watch Indiana get blown out, and you're like, come on, committee, what are you doing? We tried to tell you they weren't that good. And then you watch SMU get pounded, and we're like, come on, committee. We tried to tell, and then it's like, all right, but here's Tennessee getting their brains beat in too, you know? And it's just funny. People say things like, there's no way. I hate it if you start a sentence with there's no way, you're already wrong. All right? There's always a way. So somebody start a sentence with there's no way Alabama would be getting blown out like this. Well, buddy, I watched Alabama get blown out this year by teams worse than the teams that were blowing people out this weekend.
Oklahoma. By Oklahoma on the road, right? So we're sending Alabama on the road to play a much better team than Oklahoma.
Right. All right. You ready? You're telling me there's no way Alabama would get blown out at Texas. There's no way Alabama would get blown out at Penn State. There's no way Alabama would get blown out at Ohio State. There's no way. Well, they got blown out at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's worse than any of these teams.
Yeah.
So that doesn't even make any sense. Alabama might be better than Indiana, right? Alabama might be better than some of these teams that were in the bracket. But Alabama had every opportunity to show that. And don't tell me they wouldn't get blown out at Penn State. When I watched them get blown out by a team on the road, way less than Penn State. Ole Miss, same deal. Ole Miss might have gone into Ohio State and beat them by 40. But Ole Miss had every opportunity to put themselves in that position. And the idea that the fact that Ole Miss could reasonably get left out of this bracket makes it nonsensical to pretend that Ole Miss 100% would have performed better than some of these other teams. You could take Ole Miss and Alabama, sub them in, sub out two teams, and we'd probably have the same quarterfinal matchups. We'd probably have the exact same quarterfinal matchups that we're going to have. It's just, Lane Kiffin pops off up until Tennessee's getting beat, and then he goes quiet, right? And this is the way I deal with this with fan bases literally every day of my life because I rank basketball teams every day during the season. If a fan base thinks you have their team lower than they believe they should be, and they're on a 2-game winning streak, 7-game winning streak, anything in between, they'll hit you every day. The second that team loses and loses 3 or 4, you don't hear from them anymore. Mm-hmm. They just shut up. It's not that they don't come back and say, hey, maybe we were wrong or you were right or anything. They just shut up. They just disappear. And then they'll pop back up when they pop back up. And this is just sort of the world we live in, right?
The herpes of fans,
It's
if you will.
It's just they just sort of pop up
From
when they
what I
pop
hear.
up and then they go away.
Yeah.
But they pop up when they pop up, and then when it's time to go away, they never acknowledge I might have been wrong. They just disappear. And that happened all weekend. You know, if you were an SEC fan trying to make the point that nobody does football the way we do football, and when you watch SMU get blown out, Clemson get blown out, Indiana get blown out, well, then this is proof that nobody does football the way we do football. That's a fine thing to say up until Tennessee gets blown out.
Yeah.
Now you just shut up. You just turn your phone off, and that's what it appears Lane Kiffin and a lot of SEC fans did on Saturday night. We'll see how it goes from here. We come back, turn our attention. College basketball. Penny Hardaway's Tigers had a game inside FedEx Forum on Saturday. America's most watched network. It was the network of stars, CBS. It didn't go well. The great Steve Lapis was on the call. Tigers got down big early and never really recovered. We'll talk Tiger basketball next. Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
ESPN put out a list. Top 30 best pro wrestlers under 30 in the world today. Number 1, Dirty Dom. Number 2, MJF.
I think Dom is deserving to be number 1. I think he is probably, like I said, one of the greatest heels in the last 10, 15 years. Like you said, he can't talk on a microphone.
The fans love it because they feel like they're a part of the show.
And that's the best.
Without their booze, he's not the best heel.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel. How about them Tigers?
How about the Tigers?
Go.
Beat Tulane in a game that nobody called. Nobody thought was going to happen. They were a 2-touchdown underdog, and they got the win.
Number 25 in the AP right now, number 24 in the coaches poll right now. So this is a Tigers football team that's going to end the regular season ranked in both major polls, possibly ranked in the CFP as well, with 10 wins. That's a damn good season.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Get the squad together for this year's Junior Grizzlies 3-on-3 tournament. Presented by 2K at the Built Ford Tough practice facility inside FedEx Forum. On Saturday, January 4th, teams will compete in 3 games before advancing to single elimination play. Overall winners from the 10 and under, 12 and under, and 14 and under divisions will win Grizzlies tickets, including exclusive access to the pregame team shoot-around before the Grizz take on the Pelicans January 24th. Sign up today at hoopitup.com/Grizzlies. Hoop on the Grizzlies home court at Junior Grizzlies Game Day Clinics presented by Ortho South. Clinics are open to kids ages 6 to 14 and last 60 minutes. The next clinic tips off December 23rd, the same day the Grizzlies play the Clippers. All skill levels are welcome, from beginner to competitive athlete. Sign up now before spots sell out at grizzlies.com/Junior Grizzlies. Registration includes a Junior Grizzlies t-shirt and 2 tickets to the game that day.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Southland Casino Hotel is helping you navigate to Santa. Win your share of up to $340,000 in free play or a 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Here Comes Santa kicks off November 24th. Get one free entry and earn additional entries for weekly Saturday drawings. Don't forget the grand finale drawing on Saturday, December 21st to win up to $5,000 in free play or a 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Win big during Here Comes Santa, only at Southland Casino Hotel.
Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly for help quoting. Call 800-522-4700.
Look at that. We got the whole Grizzlies team just infiltrated our studio. Santi Aldama's in the house. Look at everybody. The whole Grizzlies team. Look at Zach Edey's in the house. John Morant's in the house. Say hello. Say hello.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. That's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays, in the evenings, and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's OrthoSouth at orthosouth.org. Now, I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Final score, Mississippi State 79, Memphis 66 inside FedEx Forum. Just 2 days after aligning with the master manipulator, habitual liar, colonizer. University of Memphis went out in their new OV Hode gear and got handled by the Bulldogs in their home arena. So now they're 9-3 overall, 3-2 inside FedEx Forum. The other loss, of course, coming to Arkansas State. I removed the Tigers from the top 25-1. I know not everybody's a fan of that, but if you want a simple explanation, it would be that you're really not going to find any metric that suggests Memphis is top 25 or top 26 right now outside of strength of record. And Memphis, the strength of record, that's strong, but it's not a metric most AP voters look at often. Beyond all that, Memphis does have that quadrant 3 loss to Arkansas State. And at least in my top 25-1, if I were to have them in there this morning, they would be the only team in the top 25-1 with a quadrant 3 loss on the resume. They've got 7 wins inside the first 2 quadrants. That leads the nation. That's good, but it's only 3 quadrant 1 wins. At one point this season, there was a moment where they had 5, but 2 of those have flipped to quadrant 2. So I don't think there's enough data there to support top 25 now. But beat Ole Miss this coming weekend, and you can pop right in next Monday if you happen to fall out later today. What'd you think of the Tigers on Saturday? After spending much of the early season as one of the best, if not the best, 3-point shooting team in America, they struggled again from the arc against Mississippi State. 8 of 27 from 3. That's below 30%. So that's 2 straight games. Not great 3-point shooting after getting great 3-point shooting for much of the season. Were you surprised they got handled the way they did?
Yes and no. Right, I want to believe that this team is a 3-point shooting team, one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the nation. But the past 2 games, man, they've not been that, and I'm trying to figure out which one is the aberration. Right?
Somewhere in the middle. They were never going to shoot 44% from 3. I think they're better than 30. I think they'll settle in at the end of the year. You and I are talking. Memphis finishes the year 36% 3-point shooting.
And I don't think that'll be good enough. Right, I think they need to be at closer to 38, 39% because they take so many, and the shots they take are always so tough. We did a game when I played basketball when I was an athlete back in high school.
Sure.
And it was, hey, we're just going to forget the make or the miss. We want y'all to understand what a good shot looks like. So we're going to grade your shots on a scale of 1 to 5. And let's just grade them. No matter if it's made or missed, it's going to be 1 to 5. And the Tigers are taking a whole lot of threes, right? Not three-pointers, but a whole lot of shots that I would grade as like average to slightly below average contested. Balls not really zipping around the way that I would like it to be. And again, on the defensive side of the ball, if you can handle the pressure that they give you, you'll be fine. It is that pressure to try and force you to turn the ball over. If you just don't turn the ball over, that's what did Virginia in. You'll be fine offensively against the Tigers defense. So I'm a little bit concerned about where this season goes from here.
Yeah, that's where, Penny had a comment a few weeks ago where he said, like, we're really close to being one of the top 5 defenses in America. And that sort of just stood out when he said it. So, like, I have a tendency to listen to what people say and then go, like, look and go, okay, I didn't realize that, but let's look at it. And when you look at it, there wasn't much to support that. They're outside of the top 50 in adjusted defensive efficiency right now, according to KenPom. And if you remove all the preseason bias from the data out at barttorvik.com, right now in adjusted defensive efficiency, Memphis is actually 90th in the country. And in the team rankings at barttorvik.com, when you remove all preseason data and just run it from November 4th through today, Memphis is actually 63rd in the country. So the computer numbers aren't as strong as you'd like for them to be. To your point, the defense isn't as strong as Penny suggested he thought it would be just a few weeks ago. And the three-point shooting is no longer there, or at least it's not there to the degree that it was. And a big part of it is Colby Rogers. He's gone from being reliable to, buddy, you need to move the ball. He 0 of 8 from the field against Mississippi State, and that follows 1 of 11 from the field against Virginia. He's 0 for his last 12 from beyond the arc. That's not who he is, but that is who he was last week, and that's not good enough. Like, I don't care if you're going to take 8 shots, but you can't make 0.
Yeah.
I don't care if you take 11, but you got to make more than 1. So they got to get him back on track. And the truth is, the biggest issue Saturday, they were just playing a really good team. I think they got beat by a really good team from a really good league. And Josh Hubbard, that wasn't his best performance, but he's an electric little guard for Mississippi State. You just don't want to spend so many weeks getting enthusiastic about this team after spending an entire offseason not enthusiastic about them, didn't even know who they were. Then they pop off in Maui a little bit, they get some wins, and it's like, okay, they're ranked, let's go. And then you lose to Mississippi State at home, lose to Ole Miss at home. It just take all of that, and I think they'll still be fine because they're about to play in a terrible league, and I don't think they're going to give it all back the way they did last year. I think they're going to win the league because they're so much better than everybody else in the league. But it just would feel not great to have this amazing start where you went from unranked to top 16, and then the non-league schedule culminates with back-to-back losses to Mississippi State and Ole Miss at home. That just wouldn't.
Yeah, no, that's especially them being like regional rivals.
Yeah, those are your neighbors, Those are your neighbors, and their whole lives, all they've heard is you talk about how good you are at basketball and how good they're not at basketball. And then in back-to-back weeks, they come in and just smack you around in your own building and in the sport of basketball. Like it wouldn't be devastating or the season is over. It wouldn't mean anything other than they just lost to another ranked team. But it would feel bad. It'd feel worse than it is. How about that?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the type of thing that knocks Memphis out of any bracketology. It wouldn't be devastating. It'd feel a lot worse than it actually is. And I don't think Memphis fans want to feel that way, so they'll need to knock out Ole Miss on Saturday. Whether they fall out of the AP poll today or not, if they beat Ole Miss on Saturday, they'll be back in it next Monday. So we'll see if they can bounce back and handle that.
Number 2.
While Mississippi State was winning inside FedEx Forum, I was at the Garden in New York for the CBS Sports Classic. I talked to Michael Eaves about it a little bit, Kentucky getting beat by Ohio State. The other game was UCLA, North Carolina. And CJ, I think this is a first for me. I've been to a lot of basketball games. I don't think I've ever sat through a fan vomit delay. A fan vomit delay. A person on the front row at MSG on the hardwood. And here's the thing. I tweeted it. It happened right in front of me. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw
The vomit.
I saw that.
Okay.
I didn't see the actual act of vomiting, but then you realize like there's something happening. And I just tweeted like we're in a vomit because people were very aware halftime should be over. Why are they not restarting this game yet? And I gather they were – is on CBS. They didn't want to say vomit maybe. I don't know. I don't think they put that over the air. Okay. I think they said there was a moisture issue.
Ooh.
Which is maybe technically true. Maybe technically true.
I hear moisture issue, I think about other things.
Not my word, somebody else's.
Yeah, hey.
But I was like, this is not a moisture issue. This is vomit. I'm looking at it. So I tweeted vomit issue, and I think what people assumed, because when I tweeted, I didn't know who was responsible. Yeah. I didn't know the vomiter. And I think people were like, I know this story. Somebody drinky, had too much to drink before 3 in the afternoon, and now you're throwing up on the court. What I was told subsequently, it was a little girl.
Oh, so it wasn't drinking. It was like probably too much sugar.
She probably had a bad hot dog or something.
Candy. Know? What? I'm assuming they got candy.
They got candy.
What's the cotton candy?
Oh, they got cotton candy.
Cotton candy and M&Ms, and she probably had a handful of the pink Starburst.
So it was a young little girl, and the poor girl. I bet she must have felt embarrassed and whatever. She's like, they told me she was like 12 years old. Then I felt bad, like putting it out there to the world because she'll forever be attached to that. But I hope she feels better. That's what I'm trying to tell you. But it's a weird thing to recognize. We're not playing basketball right now, and it's because a 12-year-old girl just threw up right on the court. You never see Spike Lee do that.
No.
I never seen Spike Lee do that.
He probably doesn't eat as much cotton candy as she did.
Probably right.
Did they get the sawdust out? Because that was the best part about people throwing up in elementary school. It's like, oh, here comes the janitor. Look at them. Throw the little, put the
what
seasonings.
Is that?
Put the seasonings on the vomit.
It looks like seasoning.
Yeah, put the seasonings on the vomit.
It looked like taco seasoning.
Yeah.
What is that? What did they put on vomit?
I think it's legit like sawdust, like wood chips that they put down there to soak it up.
Yuck!
And then you can better sweep it up once it's soaked up, and then you come through with the mop. It was like, hey, Mr. or Miss Custodian, wait a second, can I pour it? Can I season the vomit? I want to season the vomit.
I wouldn't mind seasoning the vomit every once in a while.
Yeah,
I never even got asked.
Yeah, no, I didn't get asked either. I never got to do it. I always asked to. They were like, no, weird third grader. Get away from me, please.
Yeah, like I don't know. I didn't see the sawdust with my own eyes. Okay. I feel like maybe we've come a little ways. We got a better way to do it.
Why? Like the sawdust was perfect. There can't be a better way than the sawdust.
Sawdust did feel perfect at the time. I didn't see sawdust with my own eyes. I did see the vomit. I hope that little girl's okay. And, it made me miss the kickoff of Ohio State and Tennessee on Saturday night because I was caught at the Garden later than I thought I'd be, but it's fine. It's all good.
Number 3.
All right, we got to talk about Travis Hunter. I'm worried about him.
Why?
This man's going through it. He wins a Heisman Trophy. This should be the best time of your life. My God. You're about to be a top 5 pick. You just won the Heisman Trophy. This should be the best time of your life. And he deleted his Instagram yesterday after video emerged of what appears to be his girlfriend twerking on another man, specifically another man in a LeBron James high school jersey, which I don't know if it makes it better or worse. I don't know. But it's there. You notice it right off the bat. So Travis Hunter, since the moment this guy's won the Heisman, he has been having to defend his relationship to the world. People don't think this girl deserves him. They think he deserves better than this girl. They think she's money chasing. Whatever it is, he's having to defend this. And he's like, I love her, you know? And everybody, I mean, I'm talking about other celebrities are popping on and be like, Trav, my guy, let me tell you, you got to get away from this. And he's like, but I love her. And then he actually made a video. It's the saddest shit in the world. He actually made a video saying, what am I supposed to do? The whole world's telling me to leave my girlfriend, but I love her. So then a video emerges of her twerking on another man, and he's like, I can't take this anymore. He just deletes everything. Because people just constantly sending him that video.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, you're not helping him if you're doing that.
Right.
You're just making him feel like hell and confused. I don't know if the video was from last week or, 2 weeks before they got together. But, this is weird. We were all young at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet you we were all in a relationship at one point that our friends thought we shouldn't be in. And maybe they would bring it up sometimes. Now imagine the whole world. People who don't even know you, don't know her, but they all know exactly what you should do, and it ain't what you want to do.
Yeah.
That seems crazy.
Yeah, that's tough.
Tough.
Don't know. I stay out of people's relationships because if it ain't mine, it ain't my business.
That's right.
But like, listen, if you're, I don't know when the video was taken.
Right.
If it was taken some years ago, months ago, and you already talked about it, worked it out, whatever.
What if you never
got it.
talked about it, but she said, like, let's talk through this. She says, Trav, how long we been dating? And he says, since whatever. She goes, okay, that was 3 months before we started dating. I didn't even know you. I was at a party being young and we were having a good look. Watch the video again. You see what's happening. That's the extent of it. I'm dancing at a party. Did you ever dance at a party before you knew me?
Travis Hunter might not have.
He might not have.
He's a different cat.
He's a different cat. Okay, so
but yeah.
So
like
what do you do? What do you do? You're fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
At that point, I'm fine.
That's fine.
Okay, Trav, I'm sorry, but do you remember when you guys were at Kansas that weekend playing, or whatever? I went to a party, had a little too much to drink. I guess this happened. I don't really remember, but it didn't go anywhere other than that. I was just having a good time. I'm sorry if this embarrasses you. Now what are we doing?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's tougher, right?
That's a good question.
It's tougher.
Because I know what I would do.
What would you do?
I'd be like, oh, yeah, we straight. And I don't know what Travis Hunter's relationship situations are like.
You wouldn't mind your girlfriend twerking while you were out of town?
Because I would have other ones. Plural.
Okay.
Plural.
CJ, I didn't know you were.
I'm Travis Hunter.
I didn't know you were rocking and rolling like that.
Oh yeah, baby, that's all right. I understand. I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it.
Okay, I got it. That's okay.
Right, like
okay.
That's what I'm doing. But I don't think Travis Hunter is built
So
like
let's put
that.
ourselves in Travis Hunter's shoes.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter ain't no CJ Hurd.
No.
He ain't out there trying to have one in every city.
Right.
Travis Hunter is in love. This is the woman he wants to marry. He don't want nobody else. Now what we doing?
I can't help him. Like there's not one that I would. There might be one or two who I would say, okay, that's fine, let it go. But there's not one I can think of that I can realistically get from a courtship standpoint where it'd be like, okay, yeah, you kind of gotta forgive. I tell everyone, don't come to me with your relationship stuff. I tell all of my friends, yeah, it might be time for you to move on. Every single one of them, and none of them ever listen. They all go back.
I always say this. I always say, well, what do you want? What do you want out of life? What do you want? You want to be in this or you don't want to be in this?
Yeah.
This is up to you. This ain't my life.
Yeah.
My life ain't going to change that much by what you decide to do with yours.
They always say, what would you do? And I would leave.
I always say this. I could tell you what I think I would do if I were you, but I can't tell you what I would do if I were you because I've been alive long enough to know what you think you would do if you were somebody else ain't exactly what you would do if you are really in that situation. The number of people who are very quick to tell guys or girls, either one, you got to go, relative to the number of people who would actually go if it was them as quickly as they're being told to go, those numbers don't match up. It's so much easier to give other people advice about what they should do and be adamant about it. Wait till you find yourself in the situation where it's your girlfriend on the video. This is where, like, I think a big advantage of people my age. How old are you?
37.
Okay, so we're 10 years apart. But, like, certainly my age, we didn't have iPhones in high school. We didn't have iPhones really. We didn't have iPhones in college.
I didn't. I got
like
phones to record things, and like Facebook comes through my freshman year of undergrad, so I'm early in the Facebook game. We didn't get phones that recorded until maybe my like sophomore year of undergrad.
Thank God there weren't iPhones at every party I was at.
Yeah,
like there ain't no telling what would be out there. Whereas young people today, like this young woman, she's 23 years old. There's videos of everything she's ever done in her whole life. And so these things are more likely to just pop up because they're just more likely to exist. I bet every young woman, there's a video or a picture that they'd rather not have the world be, and this is on the list of hers. So it just must be weird if you're Travis Hunter. You're super famous. You're in love. The whole world is looking at your relationship and saying it's bad. And you're like, no, it's not bad. It's awesome. And they're like, buddy, you don't know. We've been through this. We know what this is. We spot this a mile away. She ain't the one. She ain't the one. And you're like, yes, she is. You guys don't know nothing. And then a video just pops up. She's twerking on LeBron James' high school jersey. It's tough. It's just tough. I like genuinely feel bad for the guy. He should be. His life is so great, and I bet he feels like shit right now. But he doesn't know what to do. What do you think he's gonna do?
Go out there and ball out on the football field. Got to go focus, man. We got games to play.
Got to get
You
focused.
can't be deleting your social media account as an athlete. You got to pass that to your publicist and let them run it until you feel comfortable getting back on there. But that's how you make the money. That's what the advertisers want to see, your social media reach.
Travis Hunter and his current girlfriend are still together 1 year from today. Yes or no?
No.
No chance.
No. And it's got nothing to do with him or her.
It's just you can't deal with this. This is too much.
Throw any 20-something
Too
year
much.
old, early 20-year-old.
Impossible.
Like 20. Here's this 21-year-old and that 21-year-old. A year from now, are they still together? No.
Well, that's the other thing, right?
No.
Just bet against them always.
Yeah, because they're in their early 20s.
Yeah,
they just moved out of their parents' house.
And here's the other thing. He says he's in love, and I believe that he believes that. I believe he believes that.
I believe he is in love.
Like, yeah, but the number of times you think you're in love when you're young relative to, like, when you give it 5 years and look back on it, it's like, was that love or was that like she took good pictures? You know?
Oh, is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't. How about this? I know this. There are more times in my life where I felt in that moment like I'm in love, and I look back at it and I'm like, that was stupid.
Can you be in love more than once?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because that's how I look back on it. Like, oh, I was in love with this person at this time, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, we weren't in love anymore. And
I think that can exist. You were really in love, and then it just didn't work for whatever reason. I think what I find to be true more often, I felt like there was something that it wasn't really that.
Okay.
It just wasn't that. It was fun. It was interesting, but it wasn't that. And I wonder if he'll look back on this someday and go, man, I was really in it. I thought I was in love, but that was not quite that's not quite love.
Just curious about how much it's going to cost him, right? Because the difference in me being in love and then out of love is I might have ran me a couple of trips to the movies, a nice dinner every now and then, Valentine's Day gift, birthday gift, Christmas gift. Travis Hunter is coming across millions of dollars here real soon. Is there going to be, because I think that's what everybody's warning him of, like, hey, you might be messing up the money when it's all said and done.
When you go to PJ, the same thing people were saying to PJ Washington when he started dating Brittany Renner, I guess. They were like, they were like, buddy, we know where this is going.
Yeah.
And it went exactly where they all said. She got pregnant and said goodbye.
Yeah. She's now Muslim. She now wears the whole garb and everything. She said it's really hurt her OnlyFans account to be fully clothed.
Yeah, I would think that would do damage to your OnlyFans accounts. I don't know. I don't really, any of my. I've seen the leaks. I've seen some leaks, but I don't, I ain't in it.
Right.
But I ain't afraid to look at a leak.
No. Somebody's got to send it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it has to be easily available with a Twitter search. All right? I'm not a nerd. I'm going to look at the leaks if you send them to me. All right? But I would do my very surface level knowledge of OnlyFans would be if you're going to stay covered up, it doesn't work as well.
Unless you're sharing some sort of great wisdom, right? You weren't. The greatest wisdom you had was.
But we go to TED Talks for that. We go to TED Talks for wisdom. We go to OnlyFans for something less than wisdom.
I had a buddy on OnlyFans. I was like, "Why are you on OnlyFans?" He's like, "Oh, it's a great way for me to network and show people I promise you,
really?
Yeah, like I'm using it for He's in HR. I forget what big position he has. Like, I'm showing these different companies how to train, and you can pay the da-da-da. I was like, hey, you know what else you can do on OnlyFans? Everything.
Yeah, everything.
It's like, no. It's like, yeah. It was early in their OnlyFans, like, because when it first started, that's what it was used for, was like individuals in various fields to share their experiences and share how to do it better and try and monetize it, because that's what it's all about.
I feel like some of them are oversharing these days.
Hey, no, not sharing enough.
CJ says not sharing enough. I guess there's.
Bust it open, let me see it.
I guess that's another perspective.
Yes.
I guess that's another perspective.
Number 4.
Steve Kerr is tired of Jonathan Kuminga's bullshit. This is so funny. So the Warriors have been up and down, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And so Steve Kerr held a press conference on Saturday night after I believe the Warriors won. He was mad after a win. And
You know how mad a coach has to be after a win?
And he's just saying, he's not talking about anybody specifically, except he is. He just doesn't name them. But then, you know how the internet works. People listen to what Steve Kerr says, and then they go find plays that line up with exactly what he was saying. And it turns out the culprit here is Jonathan Kuminga. Watch this press conference moment with the video underneath it.
When you have Steph Curry on the team, you pass the ball because you pass it 2 or 3 times, the defense is scrambling, all hell breaks loose. So it's a choice. We can either do that and win games, or we can shoot, a whole bunch of 15-foot contested shots in the middle of the shot clock and be a lousy NBA team. It's up to us, and we are hammering that point home with our team. Thank you.
Thank you, and good night. There's Steph just standing out there, and Steph's not even calling for the ball. He's saying, send it here. Send the ball here. This is how we play basketball.
And you know this. You've been there for a while. What are you doing?
No, there's 4 arms, like 15 feet of wingspan in front of this dude, and he's just like taking mid-range jumper. Look at this. He's just taking. There's Steph pointing, and they won't move the ball. So Steve Kerr's like, listen, when you have Steph Curry on your team, you pass the ball, and then things just happen. Instead, Jonathan Kuminga taking a 15-foot contested jumper over 4 arms. Over 4 arms.
That's Nas Reed, Rudy Gobert down there. So
those
aren't just regular arms.
Yeah, no.
Those are big old long-ass arms. Those are all defensive type arms.
So then immediately people are like, you jump in the replies. It's like, oh, well, I know who's getting traded next. Kuminga out in whatever package. Bring us a Jimmy Butler. They're going to have to try something. They're at a point in Golden State where, do we think Jimmy Butler's the missing piece? I don't know, but like what we got ain't going to work. So let's just go for it. They're going to go for it.
Yeah.
They're going to make a move that just, when it happens, they'll jump on, get up, and it'll be like, I don't know if this will work, but I could see it. We'll do one of those things. It'll be exactly like Damian Lillard in Milwaukee or Paul George in Philadelphia. It'll be like, I don't know, but I can see it. They're going to make a move with that in mind. Like, we got to do something. Because we're sitting around relying on the Kumingas and the Pods, and you're wasting the final years of Steph if you try to keep doing it like this.
We don't value enough just making good decisions. We love just flat out remarkable things. Right? We love John Morant flying through the air, Steph Curry pulling up from half court, knocking down shots. We love those things. Those things are, like, we can see them. They jump off the screen at you. Mm-hmm. But things like just simply making the next damn pass.
That's right.
We don't appreciate that enough as sports fans. That dude is wide the hell open. Swing, man.
When you take that 15-foot jumper in the box score, it's just a missed shot.
Just a miss.
But what it is in reality, it's a turnover.
Yeah.
You're turning the ball, you're handing the ball to the other team. When you had Steph Curry on your team, why are you turning when you take a 15-foot contested jumper over
Nas Reed and Rudy Gobert?
It's a turnover. That's what that is. That's a low percentage shot that it amounts to a turnover. Why are you turning the ball over when you have Steph Curry standing out here?
We'd give that a 1 in practice if we were trying to grade that.
This is simple stuff. You can see as a fan a turnover. Like if Kuminga would have just thrown the ball away, you'd have been like, bad play. That was just as bad of a play. Yeah. That shot was just as bad of a play. And if Kerr's bringing that to the press conference, imagine how much he's seen of that on film, how much they've talked about this behind closed doors. For him to make it public in that way suggests this is an ongoing deal.
After a win.
Yeah. Bad stuff.
Number 5.
Shohei Ohtani is the male athlete of the year for the Associated Press. For the 3rd time, he has now tied Michael Jordan with AP Male Athlete of the Year awards, and now trails 4-time winners Lance Armstrong, Tiger Woods, and LeBron James. No argument. Like, that's probably the guy, right? Who's better than Shohei Ohtani in the year 2024 from a male perspective?
I think that, if I'm trying to Patrick
Mahomes is the guy you could throw in there. He won a Super Bowl at the beginning of the year, has maybe the best team in the NFL at the end of the year. Mahomes would be the other obvious candidate. Scotty Scheffler would be an obvious candidate. But
why don't we rock with the Celtic stars in that sort of a way?
Because nobody thinks they're really the best.
Got you.
They just think they're the best team, but they're not the best players.
Got you.
Like you put together these top 3 lists, top 5 lists. People rarely get to Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. We say that's the best team. They don't have the best players. Scotty Scheffler, Shohei Ohtani, Patrick Mahomes. I think those would have been my 3 top candidates. I got no issue with Shohei. He's got 3, and now he's going to be back to pitching and hitting next year, so maybe 4 is on the horizon. We'll see. Be back in a second.
There was a tweet from NBA G League that Cam Spencer was, quote, unconscious. Cam Spencer had 51 points on 75% shooting. The Grizzlies front office ability to find talent late in the draft continues to be a massive, massive positive for this team.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Somebody who really has done what they were supposed to do, or maybe wasn't expected to do, is Jalen Wells, the Western Conference Rookie of the Month.
What you're seeing right now is him showing that, hey, no matter where I was going to go in the draft, I was going to be ready.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizz, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Grizz Nation, it's time to send Ja, Jaren, and Dez to the 2025 All-Star Game.
Oh! What did we just see, partner?
Take 3! Take 3!
Bane for 3.
Bingo!
Desmond Bane heating it up.
Blocked by Jaren!
Most versatile power forward in the game today.
Head to NBA.com/vote, the NBA app, or simply use the QR code on the screen to send your Grizzlies to the All-Star Game today.
Grizzlies are just having fun out there tonight. Morant around a screen. Bumped by Wagner. No look to Smart. Lays it up on the window and in. And it is all Grizz. The Grizzlies have the fans on their feet at FedEx Forum.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Southland Casino Hotel is helping you navigate to Santa. Win your share of up to $340,000 in free play or a 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Here Comes Santa kicks off November 24th. Get 1 free entry and earn additional entries for weekly Saturday drawings. Don't forget the grand finale drawing on Saturday, December 21st to win up to $5,000 in free play or a 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Win big during Here Comes Santa, only at Southland Casino Hotel.
Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quoting, call 800-522-4700.
Look at that. We got the whole Grizzlies team just infiltrated our studio. Santi Aldama's in the house. Look at everybody. The whole Grizzlies team. Look at Zach Edey's in the house. John Morant's in the house. Say hello. Say hello.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
There was a tweet from NBA G League that Cam Spencer was, quote, unconscious. Cam Spencer had 51 points on 75% shooting. The Grizzlies front office ability to find talent late in the draft continues to be a massive, massive positive for this team.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Somebody who really has done what they were supposed to do, or maybe wasn't expected to do, is Jalen Wells, the Western Conference Rookie of the Month.
What you're seeing right now is him showing that, hey, no matter where I was going to go in the draft, I was going to be ready.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizz, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Grizz Nation, It's time to send Ja, Sharon, and Dez to the 2025 All-Star Game.
Oh! What did we just see, partner?
Take three. Take three. Bane for three. Bingo!
Desmond Bane heating it up.
Blocked by Sharon.
Most versatile power forward in the game today.
Head to NBA.com/vote, the NBA app, or simply use the QR code on the screen to send your Grizzlies to the All-Star Game today.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. So we were in a break earlier, and I had to plug in something underneath this desk, and I can't see anything under this desk because it's dark and my eyes suck. So I grabbed my iPhone and I turned on my flashlight, and I was able to see. I was able to make what I needed to see more visible for me, and then I plugged in, and then I set my iPhone back down. And you, being a good friend, you said, "Hey, GP, your flashlight's still on your iPhone," and I said, "I didn't realize that, but thank you," and I turned it off, and then it popped into my head. Did iPhones damage the flashlight industry? Once upon a time, think about this. There's these little things that if you wanted access to them, you had to go buy them independent. If you wanted a calculator, you had to buy a calculator. If you wanted a GPS, you had to buy a Garmin. If you wanted a flashlight, you had to buy a flashlight. Now, all of those things are on this thing that all of us carry around with us all day long. Do you think fewer flashlights are sold in America because iPhones now have flashlights?
I guess I would imagine so. We got 5 in my house. We got
5 flashlights.
We got 1 in the main room, 1 in the bedroom, 1 in the kitchen, 1 in the guest bathroom, which is my bathroom, and then 1 in the very back of the house.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'm not judging. I'm just asking from an honest place because this makes no sense to me whatsoever. Why do you need 5 flashlights?
Well, Gary, I got to be able to see what's going on in those rooms. So
I'm going to assume you have lights.
Yeah, but what if the
power goes out? I know.
Not to take shots at MLGW
I understand.
unprovoked.
I understand.
But sometimes that stuff just be going out.
But don't you? Couldn't you get by with 3? Like
Probably.
if it came down to it, and I said, CJ, you got to give me 2 of these flashlights.
I don't know where we got, because it came in a pack of 5. So there were 2 big ones, 2 medium ones, and 1 small one.
Okay.
I don't know why they came in a pack of 5, but we're like, hey, this is a good deal on flashlights. Let's get them. Where we going to stick them? Who knows?
I own a lot.
They actually cause more harm than you would think. Children see flashlights, like toddlers see flashlights, and it's prominently displayed in the front room of the house. So they see the flashlight, and they know, oh, things happen when you touch that. Give me that. Give me that. Give me that. But they don't say give me. They just scream until you give it to them. Then they run around shining the light in your face. And when you take it from them, they throw temper tantrums. So you have to give it back to them. And then you have to sneak and take it and hide it. It was a whole ordeal over Thanksgiving. Made me want to hide all of the flashlights.
Do you think you have more flashlights than the average man?
The average, yes.
I think you do.
Yes, I think 5. 5 is more than the average
I think that's
man.
a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you need help. I'm just saying that's a lot.
I don't want to take the flashlight from the front room to like the back room, and then
that seems exactly like what you should do with the flashlight.
What is my wife going to do?
Just lay there in the dark.
Yeah, no, we're not going to do that.
Just let her lay there in the dark.
Deserves some
She'll be
light.
Fine. Okay, then you've given me a reason you might need 2. All right, you've given me a reason you might need 2. How about this? I'm sure we have a flashlight in our home somewhere, just because we have everything in our home somewhere. You can't find any of it. But I don't know where it is. And whenever I need a flashlight, I just use my phone. If I've got to go outside and look for something, I just take my phone outside. I think about it. I did Google searches. There's no evidence that it damaged in any meaningful way the flashlight industry. But you know what it really did damage? Like killed? The Garmin industry.
Yeah. Did you have one of those?
Yes.
Yeah, I did too. I did too.
It was amazing.
Awesome. It's like, oh, this is so cool.
As somebody who grew up delivering pizzas, where I literally had a book of maps of DeSoto County, and I would flip to page 27 and I would look at a neighborhood, and that's how I would figure out where I'm going. And if I couldn't find your house, I'd have to go find a payphone and then call you and say, tell me where your house is. The idea that we had a Garmin, this thing you could plug into your lighter and it would like tell you exactly where to go, was the most amazing thing ever. Even if it was wrong sometimes, it was amazing. And I'm like, I had a Garmin, stick it on your windshield.
Yep.
And you just see them, everybody had one on their windshield, and you just drive around and you're like, buddy, I'm gonna have one of these on my windshield forever. And then Apple said, no, you're not. We can do better than this. And then it's over. It's over.
Yeah.
Who would? You couldn't even, if I told you to walk around all day today, you couldn't find somebody with a Garmin stuck on their windshield.
No.
Right?
No.
It's over.
No.
iPhone just came in and just killed it.
If I told you 1993, hey, one day you'll have the device that roughly the size of your Walkman that'll have all of your music, allow you to make calls, allow you to write notes to your friend. You can play really cool games, like really, really cool games. Games much better than what's on the regular Nintendo right now. Like, you'll be able to play those types of games, and it'll tell you where you're going. You're like, no, get this fool out of here. He's gone mad. He needs to be locked up in an asylum.
Well, I saw somebody point out in the chat they don't buy watches anymore because you could just always... Now,
watches are now just like a statement piece for an outfit, like a bracelet almost.
I have this. I don't need it.
You don't use it to tell time. You use it for other things.
I don't even know why I need it. I don't even know what I use it for other than sometimes I'll go, oh, man, I did 13,000 steps today. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't know why I have this, but I do. I have it. But I don't. But like, once upon a time, if you were going to buy a watch in a tradition, it was either for fashion or it was like practical. I need to know what time it is. Now you can always know what time it is. Mm-hmm. Calculators. Why would you ever buy a standalone calculator again?
Don't need to.
Calculator industry taking a big hit.
Calculator might have. The regular calculators, not the TI-83s.
Yeah.
We're not graphing on here just yet.
Those are different deals.
Yeah.
I assume the flashlight industry might have taken a hit, but turns out you are keeping it. You've stabilized the flashlight industry. You personally.
Well, I think great deals by the flashlight industry. 5 flashlights for like $10. What?
Send me a link.
I got you.
Send me a link. I'll get 5 flashlights.
I got you.
Be back with GP's Carryout.
Grizzlies are just having fun out there tonight. Morant around a screen. Bumped by Wagner. No look to Smart. Lays it up on the window and in. And it is all Grizz. The Grizzlies have the fans on their feet at FedEx Forum.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Look at that. We got the whole Grizzlies team just infiltrated our studio. Santi Aldama's in the house. Look at everybody. The whole Grizzlies team. Look at Zach Edey's in the house. John Morant's in the house. Say hello. Say hello.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
I want to throw a party just so I can be in control of the aux cord, just so I can force everybody to listen to the Wicked soundtrack. Both of these actresses in Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, I thought it showed how they have experience performing live and on screen, both of them.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Somebody who really has done what they were supposed to do, or maybe wasn't expected to do, is Jalen Wells, the Western Conference Rookie of the Month.
What you're seeing right now is him showing that, hey, no matter where I was going to go in the draft, I was going to be ready.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizz, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Grizz Nation, it's time to send Ja, Jaren, and Dez to the 2025 All-Star Game.
Oh! What did we just see, partner?
Take three! Take three!
Bane for three.
Bingo!
Desmond Bane
Heating it up.
blocked by Jaren.
Most versatile power forward in the game today.
Head to NBA.com/vote, the NBA app, or simply use the QR code on the screen to send your Grizzlies to the All-Star Game today.
Grizzlies are just having fun out there tonight. Morant around a screen. Bumped by Wagner. No look to Smart. Lays it up on the window and in. And it is all Grizz. The Grizzlies have the fans on their feet at FedEx Forum.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy.
Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. I was looking at the chat during the break. Nick actually makes a good point. What do I actually use my Apple Watch for more than any other reason? It's to find my phone.
Oh.
That is really the thing I use it more. It's like I can't find my phone. I've left it upstairs or wherever you leave a phone, and you can go to your watch, hit a button, and it'll make your phone start beeping. The best reason to own an Apple Watch is to find your iPhone. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, it's not the most practical thing in the world. But it looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, just say yes, CJ.
Yes.
Just say
it looks wonderful.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, let's do GP's Carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
Whole bunch of stuff, but let me hit you with some interesting television from this morning. Have you seen the Shannon Sharpe clip popping around?
No. What happened?
So I'll be quick with it. Kirk Herbstreit over the weekend, after Ohio State blasted Tennessee, was doing his post-game hits from the stadium, and among other things, said something along the lines of, the lunatic fringe of the Ohio State fan base. They might want Ryan Day fired after he loses to Oregon. You never know. And on Get Up, I'm looking forward to watching them on Monday morning because, last week they had Ryan Day fired, so I wonder what they're going to talk about now. So Shannon Sharpe goes on TV this morning on Get Up, First Take, whatever it's called. And he says, listen to this. Don't do that, Kirk and Chris Fowler. If you ever mention any platform I'm on again, I promise you, ESPN ain't got enough bosses to keep me off y'all for what I'm going to say. What in the world is going on? Shannon Sharpe going to fight Kirk Herbstreit.
Listen, man, you very clearly Shannon doesn't know the history of Herbstreit and Columbus and the fringe Ohio State.
It's complicated.
Fans.
That's a weird relationship he has with his alma mater.
They ran him out of Columbus. Yeah. Kirk Herbstreit is in Nashville because they ran him out.
Yeah.
So it didn't seem like when he said that he was taking a shot at First Take or anything like that. Yeah. It seemed like he was more so taking shots at people that literally ran him out of his home, ran him away from his alma mater. Kick dogs are hollering though. So yeah.
Shannon Sharp said, Kirk, keep my name out your mouth. That's more or less what he said this morning on TV. Wild situation. I'm sure they'll figure it out.
What's today's biggest game?
Monday Night Football, 7:15. CJ, you get to pick it in the absence of Big Bet Bennett. Saints-Packers. We're doing it at Lambeau Field. Frozen tundra. Green Bay, 14.5-point favorite. Totals 42.5. Kick at 7:15. How you going to act?
I will go with the Packers laying the 14.5. That's a big old line.
It's a big
That's
NFL.
huge.
It's a big NFL number. Almost feels like a college football playoff first round game. Packers minus 14.5. CJ says lay it.
What are we watching on TV?
I guess we'll watch Monday Night Raw, but I tell you, man, it feels like they took off the Christmas holidays like Bennett did.
Yeah.
They ain't doing nothing to keep me interested. I don't even feel like they're trying anymore. They're gonna have to try a little harder. I'm gonna stay with you, but it feels like they've taken off until they moved to Netflix.
Is that what they normally do?
I don't know.
Around this time of year?
I don't know.
Okay.
It just feels like I try to care and I can't find anything to care about right now. I'm losing interest. But I'll be there tonight. I'll stick with you. 7 o'clock USA Network.
What's the best thing we've read?
Mike DeCourcy, Sporting News, had a piece of college football playoffs, just sort of outlining a lot of the stuff we already talked about, which is this is the way the first round playoffs go in most sports. And there is a way to improve it, though. And the way to improve it is to seed this thing differently than the way you've blocked yourself off to seed it with 4 conference champions as your 4 top seeds. You can find that good column, sportingnews.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow we're out. It's Christmas Eve, so we're out. Make sure I got this right. We are out tomorrow.
Yes.
We are out for Christmas.
Yes.
We will be back on Thursday, the day after Christmas.
Yes.
With the Grizzlies home game inside FedEx Forum, and then out again on Friday.
I do believe that's how it looks this week.
So we're going to see you on Thursday. I hope everybody has a wonderful Christmas, a safe Christmas, and the happiest week they could ever have. Enjoy your holiday. You too, CJ. Enjoy your holiday.
Same to you, man.
I'm going to try to enjoy mine. We're going to meet back here Thursday at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.